Hi, I'm Chef Mark Strausman, and today we're going to learn how to make a real New York Bialy. So let's get started. With making a Bialy, you want to make a starter, a sponge, or in French, as said before, a pouliche. So the starter is 150 grams of flour, which is taken out from the original recipe, and a little bit of yeast. Now we're going to put 150 grams of water in and mix the pouliche. So we're going to finish mixing it. And you see that it already has a little gluten to it. And we're going to cover this with plastic, and we're going to let it sit out for 16 hours, or if it's a very cool environment, you can let it sit out overnight for 24 hours. Last night I made a pouliche. So we're going to start out with 1,000 grams of flour, 580 grams of water, 20 grams of salt, and 3 1/4 teaspoons of yeast. We're going to take the starter out of the original recipe. We're going to put the starter into the bowl. Now we're going to mix the flour, 850 grams. Now we add the dry yeast, 3 1/4 teaspoons. We mix the yeast into the flour because we're going to add the salt next. And that's 20 grams of salt. I put the salt in my hand first before putting it into the bowl because it's a lot easier to add more than it is to take it out. And now we're going to put in 430 grams of water. And now we're going to mix the dough for approximately 6 minutes. So we're going to stop it. Okay, so the dough is mixed. Now we want to take it out and put it onto the bench for a minute and kind of give it a little bit of a shaping so it can go into its bulk fermentation. The bulk fermentation time should be approximately 2 hours. So you just want to knead it a little bit, kind of give it some structure. Not too much. You can see it's very, very glutinous. There we go. We're going to put it in this bowl. We're going to cover it with the plastic and let it ferment outside for 2 hours. So it's been a little over 2 hours. And here you can see the dough has at least doubled in size. So we're going to take it out. You take it out very carefully. And you can smell that beautiful little sourness to it, which really gives it the flavor. So now we're going to start the process of shaping the Bialy. Best thing to do is to first cut them into 3 ounces and put them into individual balls. Practice makes perfect. It's kind of the way you get to Carnegie Hall. And we're trying to get to the Carnegie Hall of Bagels and Bialys. There you go. We're going to now make balls out of them. First you shape it a little bit so it fits right in the palm of your hand. I like to do 2. So you roll them and you use your fingers to move them around and you keep them right in the palm of your hand. And the faster you do this, the rounder they get. So here we have the tray. I'm going to cover the tray with plastic and let it ferment and sit for an hour. So while the Bialy is in its final proofing stage, we're going to make the onion filling. It's minced onions and just a little bit of breadcrumb to take up the moisture. So, very simple. It's a classical way to do it. And now very carefully, as you see, keep my hand that way. Okay, we're ready to mince the onion. Now I suggest when you do this at home, you actually look at the onion. And then we just sprinkle it with some breadcrumb. We set this aside until we're ready to make the actual bialy. So now we're ready to shape the final bialy. The balls have fermented. Let's take them all and put them in the flour. So we spray the pan with ham or any other kind of non-stick spray. And then we take out the ball and we shape the bialy. And we want the flour on it for the look, okay? So what we want to do is we want to make an indentation. In a sense, it's like making a really mini pizza in the way in which we do it. And I want to almost make it to where it's a thin membrane. Because if it's not thin, it's going to pop up and send the onions all over the place. And then you see you have like a thin membrane there. You can almost see through it. Kind of stretch it a little bit. And then put it down. Close up the holes. Really push it down because we don't want it to, like I said, pop up. And then take our onion mixture and cover it. The flour is going to add a nice little color to it. There's really a magical combination between bread and onions. It's a flavor that's something that is just magnificent and what really gives the bialy its character. Here we have the tray of bialys all finished and ready to bake. We're going to put it into a 475 degree oven for between 8 to 10 minutes. I think we're about ready to check the bialys. They're looking good. And here you see we have that nice indentation. It actually looks like a bialy. There we go. Oh. Wow. Look at the way that onion goes into that dough, huh? Look at those holes. That's what you're looking for in a bialy. It reminds me sitting around the table Sunday morning eating bialys with my father. I've been asking him, can you pass me the cream cheese? And my mother screaming, don't talk with your mouth full, Mark.